They'll be coming back.
And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji commences tonight's satsang with his Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is called O Holy Mother, Touch Me. Snowy road with jasmine flowers on the wing line, you play my melody. Oh, my Saraswati Namaha. I wander in this world without you. The rose will not bloom. I sail in the frozen land of time. My heart is sad. Remove my folly. The sun and stars give me no rapture. Why are you ever hidden from my sight? Capture me with your musical wisdom. Oh, let me look into the beauty of your eyes. I adore you, oh Mother with shining jewel, the illusion of desert sand conceals you. Like the white mist of morning, you disappear. Bestow upon me that freedom of the wind. If I could only see your golden smile, let me keep your footprints in my heart. I must shine like the moon in those skies. Oh, release me with a new drop of your rays. Om Saraswati Namaha. Om Saraswati Namaha. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is March the 14th, 2021, Sunday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is series 2018, class number 114. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 11, entitled Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga. We are coming close to this chapter. And remember, Lord Krishna revealed his cosmic form to Arjuna. And What is it all leading to? Arjuna is aspirant in every personality. Arjuna is a qualified aspirant, an ideal aspirant. Everyone is potential Arjuna. And in order for that aspiring soul to attain enlightenment, these are profound steps that you have just heard through the Gita. Vibhuti Yoga. First stage is your practice of yoga in daily life. If you are succeeding in practice of yoga, you will have Vibhuti Darshan. When you look at the world, you will be seeing glory of God, not the misery, not the wretch, but the glory. I'm quickly saying these are not simple attainments, but these are highest attainments. But even highest attainment requires steps. And if you take a small step towards what is right, as if you have taken 100 steps in your normal life. So keeping that in view, and then after he has shown the cosmic form, Krishna revealed his Saguna form of Lord Vishnu, and then came down to his normal form as Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, the chariot driver. What does that all imply? 54th verse. Bhaktyattva nanyaya shakya ahamevam vidhorjuna Gyatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. O Arjuna, scorcher of foes, called parantapa. It is by single-minded devotion alone that I can, in this form, be known, seen in reality, and entered into. The verse presents great insights. First point is used, O Parantapa, scorcher of foes. It points to the qualification of an aspirant. Aspirant must understand what is his enemy, what are his foes, not his toes. Impurities of the mind, lack of virtuous qualities, lack of patience, lack of endurance, all these are foes, your enemies. Arjuna is one who scorches those enemies. In other words, you live your life to be free of anger, hate, greed, but you must first recognize that it is impurity. And that recognition becomes easy because of spiritual sensitivity. When sensitivity has not developed, lot of impurities line up and you are not aware of it. When sensitivity develops, it is just like a speck of dust entering the eyes. Lot of dust is around you, you don't care. But if it enters the eyes, you do care. So that type of sensitivity is a mark of spiritual progress. Arjuna is characterized by that quality. He cannot bear with any impurity within his mind, and he is constantly alert how to deal with impurities, malas, how to sublimate them. Therefore he is called a scorcher of foes, parantapa. And the term param-tapa can be also interpreted as param-tapa. Param means supreme austerity. The real vital austerity is to see that negative thinking that enters your mind is being sublimated into positive thinking, into Godward movement. If you are intent upon doing so, then you become parantapa. And what awaits you? What awaits? Darshan of God. Darshan has three aspects. But even before that, what you mean by God? Which God? Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Devi. And there are countless other gods. Which God? No, by single-minded devotion. Ananya Bhakti, a term has been used. God who is the reality behind your soul. That God is one and absolute and non-dual. All souls are like reflected suns. God is the sun. But the sun can express in countless ways. All countless ways of expressions are different gods. Whichever sun you are turning to, you are turning towards the absolute sun. This point has to enter the mind. And it's not an ordinary development. People remain immature in their practice of prayer, japa. Each time you do japa, you figure out, separate one God. If your japa is Om Namah Shivaya, you tell Lakshmi Devi, wait. I will do japa of Shiva. If it is Rama, oh, Lord Shiva, wait. So that type of idea that gods are different personalities, that should not be there in your mind. You choose, gods are different angles, just like someone is in a very big palace, a divine personality, and there are hundreds of windows, and so all of them cannot just go through only one window. Different people put their eyes at different windows and look at. But they are all looking, though the windows are different, but they're looking at the same God. That's called Ananya Bhakti. That God is ever the same. And and from a deeper point of view, that God is your essential nature. Who you are, essentially, that is God Himself. Aham Brahmasmi. So when that type of bhakti develops in your mind, it's called Ananya Bhakti. Firstly, love. Love that is unshaken. That love is for your own self. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For the sake of self, all become dear. That self restricted by egoism is called jiva. When ego melts by devotion to God, then you are Shiva. When you allow that to happen, you are developing Ananya Bhakti. Ananya, you are inseparably related to God. That's the highest level of Ananya. Next level of Ananya, no matter how many gods you worship, your devotion to your Ishta Devata increases more and more. Your Ishta Devata is Rama. Now if you worship Shiva, Shiva asks for a boon, ask any boon, you ask the boon, may I have bhakti for Rama? And Shiva is surprised by your boon. He becomes very exceedingly pleased. So, different Devi Devatas you are worshipping, they are adding up to your devotion to your Ishta Devata, Rama, Krishna, whomsoever. Single-minded devotion, Ananya Bhakti. And great terms are used. Jnatum, drashtum, praveshtum cha. If you have developed that Ananya Bhakti, three-aspected communion becomes possible for you. Jnatum, tattvena, to have the awareness, the knowledge of highest wisdom, knowing which all is known. That's the real wisdom. And if you have that wisdom, that's the first stage of, or that's the ultimate stage of divine communion. Jnatum implies allowing your mind to go after Aham Brahmasmi. Who is this Aham? And come to discover, I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. If that movement clears up, that's called Jnatum. You are knowing God. To know God is to be God. And to be God implies a revelation. You are always. God is the reality in your personality. Jivahood is not your reality. That's so they have explained Jnatum. knowledge. Drashtum. Your knowledge should not be just intellectual. As if you are seeing with your open eyes. It doesn't relate to the normal vision. It's allegorical description of mystical experience. That's like in a normal world, direct experience means you see with open eyes and you touch. And it proves right, then it is right. But that becomes allegorical. A similar direct connection with God. That's called darshan, drashtum. And that drashta movement culminates in praveshtum. You enter into. Let me repeat, jnatum, drashtum, praveshtum, tava. Jnatum, to know God. Drashtum, to see God. Praveshtum, to enter into God. Entering into God, again, all these are allegorical terms. Like a river entering into the ocean, or like a reflected sun entering into the real sun, like a soul in a dream entering into the waking state. That waking term is spiritual revelation of your innermost self. So be param tapa. Turn your life into a stream of austerity that goes after sublimating malas, gross impurities. Not leaving even a little impurity left, sublimating them, not a needle point left. Be param tapa. And as you become param tapas, that type of eager aspirant, you will have divine experience in three ways. Your knowledge, aham brahmasmi. Your vision, satyameva jayate, truth alone triumphs. Asatoma sadgamaya. This entire world is asat. And you have the revelation of the sat. And third, as stage, having come to this experience, you do not have your individuality left. You are a river that has wanted to know what ocean looks like. Enters into the ocean without emotions, with devotion, and is lost. Fifty-fifth verse. Mat karma krit mat karmo mat paramo mat bhakta sangha varjita nirvaira sarvabhuteshu yasamameti pandava. O son of Pandu, he who performs actions for me, that's called mat karma. If you perform actions for your ego, then you are the performer of sakamya karma. And you continue to be gripped by the cycle of birth and death. If you do karma for the sake of fulfilling your expectations, your egoistic desires. Of course, in practical world you do that, but through devotion, your ego's role begins to melt, and you begin to develop a mystic feeling that you are an instrument in the hands of God. If that movement has started, a switch has occurred in your personality from sakamya to niskamya, from pursuing your life led by your desire. From that, your attention has switched. You are in the hands of God. You are Krishna's Bansuri. Let him play the flute. And you can loot all happiness. But be a flute. And all the 4 yogas have been pointed out by different terminologies. Mat karma means practice karma yoga. Mat paramam, having the goal of being united with God. That means dhyana, Raja Yoga. Mad bhakta, be a devotee of God. That's bhakti yoga. Jnani sangha vivarjita. And the next one is called jnani, one who has attained, one who is following the path of jnana. And path of jnana is characterized by being free of attachment, dependence. Sangha varjit, 3 attributes or 3 qualities or characteristics of jnana are presented in this verse. First characteristic, freedom from asakti. Freedom from asakti has to be understood in a profound way. A mother loves the baby. Now in all her love, if her intention is to make the baby grow with wisdom and ultimately attain enlightenment, if that is what delights her motherly heart, then there's a real delight. But if her mind always thinks of the baby should stay a baby, make my life cozy, cute, then it's the moha language. So that type of movement is asakti movement, attachment. Attachment, every negative quality is removed gradually. So gradually, as you practice sadhana, your mind becomes free from attachment, moha, and become more and more interested in loving the real progress of your relatives. In that there is a bigger satisfaction. But attachment movement is a biggest frustration, because you cannot be attached to anything in this world, anyone, because all is perishable. Sangha varjita, so that point has to be remembered, that in every attachment bring God Because it's God that is drawing you towards Him through your baby, through your near and dear ones. And seeing God in all your near and dear ones, that becomes your great task, which is a joyous task of spirituality. Next point, nirvaira. No matter how situations develop, never live with hate. That as long as that enemy lives happily, I will not be happy. And if he passes away, I must keep my eyes on him. The Yama must give him proper punishment. By doing that, what you have done, you have cursed yourself. You have to be in that hell somewhere like a spider, looking at what Yama is doing. So as long as the mind holds on to any grudge, animosity, you cannot be enlightened. Enlightenment is to understand God is in every heart, and all things are led by God's will. To nirvaira, free of animosity. And lastly, towards all living being, a sense of well-being for all. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. A heart that showers prayer of goodwill for all. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Sarve santu niramaya. May all be happy. May all be free of troubles. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. May all see their spiritual progress. Sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. And may all souls attain liberation. In simple way of putting, your heart goes after giving blessings of Shakti. May everyone face their challenges with strength. No one should break down by the challenges. That's goodwill, real goodwill for all. And while living life, facing challenges, saras, make the life joyous, a delightful project, not a project of despair. So Shakti, Bhakti, and Mukti, and thus be led to liberation, freedom from the cycle of birth and death. So Arjuna, firstly he received Vibhuti Yoga, how to be inspired by everything in this creation, but not at once, step by step. Certain things, select things inspire your mind. Go after them. That's called satsanga. Move away from those things that don't inspire you. As you advance, Even from things that you're moving away, they are also in divine hands. So your vibhuti begins to expand. It reaches a state of Vishwarupa Darshan. The entire universe is enfolded by God. God's stomach is so big, he keeps the entire universe within himself. Therefore, he is Ganesha, the same God with the largest stomach, largest. And that Vishwarupa Darshan led him to divine communion with God. Divine communion became, from external point of view, everything is normal. The same world you are living in. But you are in constant communion with God. This also, for deeper understanding, you have to understand the different aspects that are adopted for practicing upasana. Saguna Sakar, 3 stages. Saguna Sakar, that's the most foundational level of your upasana. View God in a way that your mind feels comfortable. So if God is presented to you in the form of Rama, how wonderful. His beauty excels millions of cupid gods and so many other attributes. Then Saguna Sakar, that's how upasana must begin. And as you advance, Saguna Sakar paves the way to Saguna Nirakar. You are not dependent always on the form, but your mind begins to soar with attributes of God. And you as if live to grow in the image of God. Whatever quality you are lacking, you meditate on God who possesses that quality. If quality of patience you are lacking, meditate on God who is boundless patience, patience incarnate. If you want to develop humility, meditate on God who is absolutely egoless. As Krishna, he is the driver of Arjuna's chariot. If you want a strength, physical, mental, moral, then meditate on God having those types of strength. Whatever quality you meditate on, God with whatever quality, that quality begins to enter your personality. That's a divine psychology. And Saguna Sakar has led you to Saguna Nirakar. Now culminates in Nirguna Nirakar. Nirguna Nirakar, you are not working with your concepts. Your whole mind resigns. Your ego melts. It is a revelation now. And revelation is beyond all your expectations. No word can be used exactly. This is the way I saw God. No comparison. And you don't need words to be inspired. So then that you have reached the climax. And if that climax stage becomes secure, and you have enjoyed all the three stages, your upasana has become perfect. Your upasana has turned into para bhakti, supreme devotion. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshan Yogo Nama Ekadashodhyaya. Om Tat Sat. Thus, in the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the 11th chapter entitled The Yoga of Cosmic Vision. Every chapter ends with these statements. And we are entering into 12th chapter, and it is entitled Bhakti Yoga, the Yoga of Devotion, chapter 12. Arjuna uvacha evam satat yuktaye bhaktastam paryupasate ye chapyaksharamabhyaktam tesham ke yoga vittama. Arjuna asked, of the two types of yogis, those who worship you with form, endowed with a steadfast devotion, and those who are devoted to the worship of imperishable, non-manifest Brahman, which of the two worshippers is better versed in yoga? Now, you have heard devotion having three fingers: Sagun Sakar, Sagun Nirakar, Nirgun Nirakar. But prior to that detail of three fingers, the Gita is pointing to two fingers. Sagun Sakar, one. Sagun Nirakar plus Nirgun Nirakar, two. Two steps. Arjuna questioned, which is better? What should we start with, Sagun Sakar or going to Nirgun Nirakar? Nirgun, Sagun Nirakar and Nirgun Nirakar. Which should be done first? Which is better? So that you give up that which is not better. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Mayyavishya manomye mam nityayukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetaste me yukta tama mata. Those, the blessed Lord said, those who having fixed their minds on me, endowed with supreme faith, worship me with ceaseless devotion, they are, in my opinion, the best skilled in yoga. The best worshipper, Krishna is saying, is the first one, because that's your foundation. If without foundation, suddenly you want to go to the roof, without ladder, that will be terrible. So worshipper of Sagun Sakar is greater because he has a solid foundation for his progress. And what type of progress that he experiences, that you turn into Raja Yoga Sutras, there's Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Prajna. Faith is inherent in every soul. That faith is awakened gradually. If you go on worshipping your Sagun Sakar deity with your mala, with your mantra, and developing Ananya Bhakti spirit, that all gods you are worshipping, you go on worshipping them to intensify your love for your Ishta. And don't feel the Ishta is being contradicted by other gods. But all gods are serving the same purpose, intensifying your devotion to your Ishta. When this type of Sagun Sakar experience increases, automatically you will be led to Sagun Nirakar. You will be led to be aware of God's presence, a loving presence of God at all times. And that will lead you to melt in God. So as we have started with telling you Shraddha movement leads to Virya. Amazing strength. The strength based on your body is very limited. But the strength of your character, the strength of your spiritual progress, that's Hanuman's strength. That strength you cannot imagine. Beyond your Anuman. Anuman means your mind has a view that this much I have a strength. But now this is beyond compare. That type of virya develops. Smriti and your mind, you begin to work with your memories. But if you are lacking Shraddha, your memories are extremely limited. All you have left a house and all that you are remembering is where did you leave your broom, where did you leave all the dirty stuff of the house, what is happening to your biscuits, and many other things. That type of memory, I'm joking. Instead of that type of memory, your mind goes on remembering certain happenings in your life that have inspired you. That's called sattvic memory. And sattvic memory becomes furthermore transfigured by a mystic recall. Your essential nature has been forgotten by you. Now, as if you are recalling, who am I? But this recall has many steps. And it culminates in prajna, intuitional knowledge of the self. When you abide in it, then you become sthita prajna. All these are implied in the practice of devotion to God. And this is the essence of all religions of the world. And with this, I'm going to conclude. Om. Om. Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace of God over all of you, with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmuva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Nidamaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Any questions this evening? Then we conclude and join Swamiji on Tuesday night at 7:30.
Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you, Swami.
Swamiji, thank you.